You know who it is. Often imitated, never, ever duplicated. It's the best division in the National Football League, represented by none other than the NFC East Super Friends. When our powers combine, you know what it is. And we got a special guest. Not just any guest today.
That's right.
We got a special guest for y'all today. We heard your jokes, okay? Yeah, we gave the Cowboys a pretty hard time last time. They didn't have a representative here. We heard you heard all of the jokes about all in and all of that good stuff. And so we got somebody in here to talk Cowboys football, and not just anybody. We're talking about YouTube social media royalty here.
Correct.
Okay. You may know him as a grown man, okay? But we are talking to none other than ScooterMagruder. Thank you for being on the NFC East Super Friends and blessing us with your superpowers. Welcome to the program.
Listen, I'm excited for this crossover episode. I've heard all the slander about America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm here to set the record straight. I will not stand for any of this foolishness.
You hear that, LB?
I hear it. Oh, listen. He's welcome to speak his piece. You know, thank you for coming on. We definitely need somebody to tell their side of the story, because my side has been seeming a little biased in the eyes of Cowboys.
No, not seemingly biased.
It is
very, very biased. Okay.
That's fair.
All right.
That is fair.
So, first off, really appreciate you coming on and joining us.
Absolutely.
Want to talk to you about, before we get into the nuts and bolts of everything, your channel, your whole entire spiel. It is one of the best things that we see on a regular basis on YouTube. The reaction videos, doesn't matter what sport either, right? But specifically when you do the NFC East, like, where does the motivation for that come from? Because a lot of times you nail it for every fan base, and it's hard to do that when you are a fan of one team. It's hard for you to really get into the mind of a fan of a different organization, right? Now, I always say it's family business. So nobody knows you as good as your family members, right? So we know the Giants, we know the Eagles, we know the Cowboys as a Commanders fan, and vice versa. But it's still amazing to watch you do these vignettes where you do every team in the division, and like literally we're like, yo, that is exactly how we were on draft night, or that's how we were during free agency. Talk to me about that whole mindset and how you came up with that concept.
Sure, absolutely. Well, first off, I appreciate the kind words you guys have all said. Thank you for having me on, honestly. Like, I think a lot of creators should be doing things like this. You know, we're better together as content creators.
Yep.
And especially as sports content creators too. We're minorities. There's not a lot of people making sports content.
Yeah.
But I actually started my YouTube channel not in sports, and then I transitioned to sports. I don't know if you guys remember, during that time, it was this time during YouTube when everyone was making like people say videos, at Latinos say, or things Christians say. But no one was doing sports.
Yeah.
That's when I made stuff Magic fans say, and it went. It got on like the local newspaper, a couple things. I went to Florida, go Gators. Yeah. So naturally I made things Gator fans say. Mm-hmm. And then I just started doing the NFL and the NBA because no one was still doing it. Fast forward 10 years, I'm making the exact same videos and just calling them different things, and no one cares. So I'm just keeping up with this until people say, all right, that's enough. That's enough. Yeah. We need something else. But that's where the NFC East videos came from. I needed to do something a little bit different, you know, show, hey, actually I can edit. Hey, actually I can do other things than just these short little videos about the Cowboys or about whatever team. So the talking to myself, NFC East meetings, that's where that came from. Just wanting to showcase a different side of it. But to go back to your point about family business, you're right. No one knows the NFC East like another fan in another fandom in the NFC East. I honestly think all of you could do what I'm doing because you know, as an Eagles fan, how the Cowboys are feeling. You know how, as a Commanders fan, what Giants fans are thinking about Daniel Jones. Like, you know, if you're tapped into the space, which we all are, you just have this inherent knowledge. So all I'm doing is just reaching a little bit deeper, looking at some subreddit posts. Okay, that's how they actually feel about A.J. Brown. Okay, this is how they actually feel about C.J. Gardner-Johnson, right? And so, to me, it's not like I'm doing something crazy. I'm just doing something we all could do. I just happen to do it before anyone else. And I'm just rocking with it like that. So that's how I got started.
I think you're being humble because it takes talent, man. It doesn't really matter. A lot of times it doesn't matter the content. I mean, obviously it's a sports thing, but if you're really good at what you do, people are going to watch. Like they like the personality. You know what I mean? Because even though we are a small niche on YouTube, there still are quite a few content creators that do sports, and it's really hard to kind of get your foot in the door, and you have to do something that's unique. And because you do something that's unique, although all of us could do it, we might not be able to do it as good as you. You know what I mean? So, because I've been on YouTube a long time as well, and it was way different when I started. I mean, I started way back in 07. It was way different. Like, there was no sports content creators, and then I kind of got away from it, and then I've watched it evolve into what it's become now. There was no StreamYard, there was no OBS, there was no live streaming. So this all kind of started happening probably 2018. But yeah, I think you're being a little high. It takes talent to do what you do, man, without question.
Well, I appreciate that. I still think, like, and if you're watching this thinking about starting a YouTube channel into sports, do it. Like, there's not that many of us doing this. We need more people to be doing this. Like, every team representative, I feel like, making content, making reaction videos, live streaming the games, fill in the blanks. NFC East, we're good in the NFC East, but other divisions might need some more people to come along and do some other stuff. So,
yeah, I agree.
So you started out by saying you were here to set the record straight. So we got to bite you now. We're just super friends for a reason, man. So we're just not gonna just let you come up here.
Hear what you guys got.
So let's talk about this all in, man. This has been a great off season for the rest of us, but when it comes to the Cowboys, it's been like crickets.
Okay.
I don't know if you hear the crickets or not, but I hear the crickets.
Explain to you what's happening here.
Okay, I'm all ears.
This is what's happened. Okay. We've been burned in the past by making some splash free agency moves. I don't know if you guys remember the Roy Williams trade where we traded a first and a third, right? And then he was a scrub and a half for our organization. We've been burned a little bit too much. Even just getting rid of Amari Cooper for a fifth, that hurt us more than it hurt Jerry Jones, honest. Like, we've been burned. So I do understand Jerry not trying to make these big splash moves. Now, when he said we're going all in, he was referencing the UFL.
Yeah.
That's what he was talking about. We just didn't know it at the time. And honestly, I think this actually might be a great decision on his behalf, because the UFL is full of talent. You got to keep in mind, we already got 2 all-pro players from the UFL in Kavonte Turpin and our kicker. So I'm just saying, he was talking about the UFL. We'll see how this plays out, but I'm confident in the roster that we have. We just need to pay some people. That's all that we need to do at this.
Do you have any money to pay anybody?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest concern for me. Yeah,
we can pay CD, Dak, and Micah right now if we wanted to. The problem is we always wait too long
and pay more.
We wait like a year and a half too long to pay all of our players, and then it becomes a storyline, and it's the offseason. Now it's what everyone's talking about. Why haven't the Cowboys paid CD Lamb? He's holding out of training camp. Newsflash: we're going to pay CD Lamb.
Yep.
We are also going to pay Rain Dakota Prescott. These people will get paid, and here's why. I don't know if you guys remember this either, but I've been a Cowboys fan my entire life. I was there when Quincy Carter.
Oh, I do this all the time.
Quarterback.
I do this all
and
the time.
he was the best one of
Right.
the bunch.
Oh
He
my
was
God.
elite compared
Yes.
to Drew Henson.
Drew
We're
Henson.
not going back.
Drew Henson
Those
was a
dark
Yankee.
Yeah, oh my God, I do that whole bit all the time because I used to do this in defense of Tony Romo, right? Because remember, he was the guy that pulled you out of that purgatory. It was Drew Bledsoe.
Drew Bledsoe got
Right.
injured.
And
Romo
then
came
he
in and saved us.
saved you because it was awful. I was there for the Dave Campo days. I loved it, by the way. Okay. Those were some splendid times. Okay. I don't know if you guys were ever down as bad as those Dave Campo years into the early stages of Big Tuna. I mean, it was bad.
I mean, when at the end of Tom Landry's tenure, that's how old I am. Okay, I remember Tom Landry being the guy. At the end of his tenure, I think it got really bad.
I mean, that was 1-15. That was
yeah.
So
but
that
they
was
came up quick when they got Jimmy Johnson. They
Right.
came quick.
No, it was years and years of, bad football after Troy. The triplets pretty much went away. It was bad football for at least 5 or 6 years and a bunch of quarterbacks coming through there.
And people are
But, so
quick to forget about this. Go ahead, Brunson.
I just feel like we're on the cusp of that. I don't know why with the Dallas Cowboys. I feel like we're on the cusp of that. So with you saying that everybody is going to be paid, what would be your pecking order? So who's going to get paid first? Who deserves to get paid first? Because I just don't think that everybody gets paid this offseason. I don't think Micah gets paid this offseason.
How much would you be willing to give Prescott?
Let's back up. Let's address what you just said. You just said you think the Cowboys are close to being back to the Dave Campo era. Did I get that right? Is that what you said?
That's what he said.
Well, probably not the Dave Campbell era per se, but just dark times are ahead. Winter is coming.
Okay.
I just feel like it's getting bad.
Dark times are ahead. Let's unpack that. We've been 12-5 the past 3 seasons.
Yes.
The past 3 seasons.
That's
12-5.
That's right.
If any of our teams up here went 12-5 the past 3 years, no one's sitting up here and saying dark times are ahead. No one's saying that. No one's saying that. We just can't win a playoff game. That's where we're at. We're at we are the 76ers. We can't get past that first round. That's it. That's where we are. As far as payment goes, you're going to see, I predict, CD get paid, followed by Dak. I do not think they extend Micah this offseason. I think he will play on his rookie contract this season. Mm-hmm. And even potentially next season, we might end up franchising him depending on how some things play out. Mm-hmm. But that's also why you're not seeing us making these huge splash signings, because in the back of our head, we know that we need to allocate the proper space for our players that we have. We've already made some hard decisions. Yep. You look at our left tackle is Tyron Smith. No longer there. He's gone. That was one of the hard decisions we had to make. If we are going to pay CD Lamb and Dak and Micah, someone's going to have to not get paid. Tyron's out. Yep. So you're seeing some things. They're going to be playing chicken with CD maybe for a month longer, let some fines rack up, and then we're going to pay him. It's the same thing we do all the time. Mm-hmm. What we should have done was pay him last year. What we should have done was pay Dak last year. But here we go. The Dallas Cowboys offseason. I don't know what to tell you. I've seen this story multiple years.
Let me tell you why I think it's a little bit
let me yeah, I just wanted to elaborate on the dark times thing and where I'm coming from. I think it gets dark for you guys when you give a Dak Prescott what he's asking for, because he hasn't proven that he's worth $60 million a year. In all fairness, Dak is a great quarterback. Like, I know I give Dak a lot, but at the same time, I think for you guys to truly be successful, Dak got to take a discount. He got to take a discount, and I don't think he's willing to take that discount. That discount comes with acquiring more talent. If Dak was to take, say, $53 million a year and say, let's really give ourselves a shot at a Super Bowl so we can get more talent down the line. If Dak takes $60 million a year, I just don't see the money available to go out there and get another option at wide receiver or something like that later on down the line.
Do you think Trevor Lawrence should be the highest paid quarterback in the league right now?
But this is where that's different. Trevor Lawrence isn't even 25. Dak is the longest tenured quarterback on an active roster in the National Football League. This will be Dak. Dak has gotten 2 contracts after he gets this one. If he gets this one, he's been franchise tagged. Trevor Lawrence is getting paid based upon upside. He's 24. Trevor Lawrence can win MVP next year.
So,
for all we know,
that question, no, you don't think Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback.
And then, no, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is. I don't think he's the best quarterback. But when you're that young and you're as good as he is, you are to get market value. What's the difference between Dak getting $60 million a year and Kirk Cousins? They're
I'm
both
not sure.
past their prime or just coming out of their prime. They're both
Here's
old
the
and
thing,
haven't done
though.
anything.
When you look at quarterbacks and their age when they win a Super Bowl, traditionally they are not young. They're not Trevor Lawrence's age. They're around actually Dak's age. So I think it's proper for us to pay Dak. He's 30, by the way. It's not like this man's 35.
Right.
He is in his prime. Yes, he's been in the league for a while, but if you look at the quarterbacks who've been in the league for a while who've won a Super Bowl, the list is not that long. It's not that many people. Dak is a top 10 quarterback, and if you're going to compete in this league, you need a top 10 quarterback. The problems with the Cowboys last year were not on Dak. The problems with the Cowboys were the Cowboys' defense getting gashed through the middle because we were playing safeties at linebacker. We could not stop the run whatsoever. You saw this in the Packers game in the playoffs. Jordan Love even told us, hey, you got safeties playing linebackers. We're going to run the ball on you. So the problems with the Cowboys aren't Dak. It's not even the offense. The offense did fine last year. It's can we get a stop when we need it? It's if they're going to double Micah, who else is going to step up? That to me,
let me ask you.
I can't. We can't let that
Real,
one.
real quick, what do you think?
We can't let that one ride.
Why do you think the Cowboys haven't been able to get over the hump? Why do you think? What do you think is holding them back?
There's definitely a curse. I'm not sure how we break that curse.
And how do you feel about McCarthy? Do you think McCarthy's the guy?
I mean, McCarthy's won before. I'm sure he can win with this talent. I honestly think we are literally cursed. I don't know how we break it, but there's something that's happening. It goes deeper than football. Like, I don't know what Jerry did.
You know,
we gotta figure it out.
We know Jerry's got a lot of skeletons in the closet, right?
Jerry
I don't blame Jerry as much as Cowboys fans do. And I think Dak Prescott had a good season last year, but it's just being like we're just bloviating about a lot of things that just aren't true 100% when you talk about Dak and what he did last year. The Dallas Cowboys last year won one game when the defense gave up more than 20 points. That defense was borderline elite against a lot of teams.
Preach.
You know what I mean? The defense was way better than a lot of people want to give it, credit for.
What are you?
But this is a guy.
I want to see this.
But this is the thing. This well look at it. The Giants, the first game of the season, didn't score. You know what I mean? The second, I know. Listen, I know it's the Giants. Then you go to the Jets game. I think they only gave up 3 or 7 to the Jets. Then you go to the game after they blew the game to the Cardinals. That was another 3 points they only gave up to who was that? The Patriots. You know what I mean? A lot of teams they held under 20. So I think that defense played really, really well. The difference was when the defense wasn't able to score touchdowns. So when the defense wasn't able to assist, the Cowboys fell short. And 99% of those games, Dak Prescott won one game where he where he had to put the team on his back. That was against the Seahawks.
If you go look back at last year's season for the Cowboys, the first half of the year, the defense played great. Yeah, you're right. They did.
Right.
They looked elite first half of the season. The second half of the season, the defense fell apart. I don't know what it was. I don't know what was happening. That same defense that you saw week 1 against the Giants was not there towards the end of the season. We were getting
in all fairness, it's hard to replicate block punt, pick six. You don't do that every week. And the Dallas Cowboys were getting fat and used to that happening every single week. But sometimes the quarterback has to
Giants every week either.
Exactly. You know what I mean? The quarterback sometimes, a $60 million man got to put it on his back. And Dak was supposed to do that against the Packers. You can't blame the defense in the Packers game.
What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Because
we're talking about.
Here's what you need to know. Dak was a couple games away from winning the MVP of the league last year. He was 2 games. If we play the last couple games differently, Dak is the MVP of the NFL. It was Lamar and Dak. And we're now all of a sudden, Dak's not good. Now Dak's not worth $60 million. He was almost the MVP. So if we're saying Dak's not the guy, he was literally almost the best player in the NFL. What are we actually talking about?
So 2 things. MVP is a regular season award. I have no issues with that. Dak is a regular season quarterback.
Yep.
Right? So I'm like, I don't have any issues with anything you just said. I want to go back to the defensive part of this because you said Dallas is 12-5 the last 3 years. You know when that change came?
When Micah was drafted.
When Dan Quinn came on board. When Mr. Hot Sauce in the Eye, Mike Nolan, was no longer your defensive coordinator. And you can say what you want about Dan Quinn. I've seen a lot of Cowboys fans pinning the end of the season on Dan Quinn and the defense, and some of you are happy he's gone. Do you not think that there's going to be a defensive drop-off now that Dan Quinn is no longer your defensive coordinator, now that Joe Witt Jr. is no longer one of your defensive coaches? You don't think there's going to be a significant drop-off defensively with this Cowboys football team? That is my biggest question, because that defense produced the most turnovers combined over the last 3 seasons. You guys were really good at taking the football away from teams, and that helped produce a lot of points. And that gave Dak the football back a bunch of times to score a bunch of points in the regular season. That defense, while it wasn't always good at stopping the run or necessarily getting stops when you needed to, i.e. the Dolphins game at the very end, right? That defense was great. Not good, great at taking it away. That's a hallmark of a Dan Quinn coach defense. Yes, sometimes they can be undersized and you can't have the ball run on them, which is what happened to you guys. But your defense was a huge catalyst to the success you've seen the last 3 years. Are you telling me that that's going to be replicated with Mike Zimmer?
What I'm telling you is that you're right on Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn did come in. He did change the culture defensively. We did take a lot of more chances on defense. We did play more man coverage, get our cornerbacks in position to make plays. Will there be a setback period? Maybe. Maybe there might be with Zimmer coming in here. But towards the end, and this is what I want you guys to really pay attention, towards the end of the half of last season, there was a tremendous drop-off. Things were not working as well as you guys might remember them working, especially towards the very end, especially in that Packers game. That Packers game was the culmination of everything with Dan Quinn coming undone. It was teams figuring out, okay, this is how Dan Quinn works. This is how we counter him. We run it up the middle. We gash them. They got undersized linebackers. Let's gash them. And he didn't change that. These are changes that I could see as a fan. I'm not like an analyst looking at tape and coverage. I could see this as I'm watching the game. What are we doing? Why are these gaps so large with the linebacker? Why are we playing so far off some of these plays? There might be a transition period, but I was actually one of the people that said, you know what, I think actually it might be time for Dan Quinn to go because it's not working anymore. It was working, but it's not working anymore right now. So I do think, yes, Dan Quinn came in, he did change the culture, but then people caught up.
But what was supposed to work was Dak. You don't start the Packers game with punt, interception, punt, pick six. That puts your defense in a hole.
Let's talk about the Packers game. Also, if you guys paid attention to the Cowboys last year, you would know our offense started off abysmal. We did not start off great on offense. It wasn't until week 3, week 4, after we got dogged by the 49ers, we made some changes and we started motioning a lot more. If you go back to that Packers game, we reverted back to how we were playing when the 49ers dogged us. We barely had any pre-motion that whole game. And I'm sitting here watching us. We're going to lose because we are not doing what we did to get here. They're clamping down on our receivers because we can't get anyone free. No one's getting free because we stopped our motion. They can key on our guys now. And so that's what really happened if you watch that game. Go back and watch that game. You will see our offense revert back to how we were playing at the beginning of the season. And that, combined with the defense giving up 12,000 yards, led to us getting destroyed by the Packers at home.
So those two picks in the first half by Dak Prescott, none of that is on his decision making and clutch moments. Because historically, that's what he does in the playoffs. He throws picks. He's been doing it the last 3 years. I think he's thrown 5 interceptions in the postseason.
I'm not putting that Packers game on Dak whatsoever. That Packers game was a game plan philosophy. The coaches got out coached severely. Go and look at the schemes. Go look at the plays that we were running. They were basic plays any team could have stopped. I might have been able to pick off a play because they were cookie cutter plays, vanilla offense. And this is when you're supposed to bring out your best plays. And we just reverted back. I'm not putting that game on Dak.
McCarthy has a lot to do with that, though? Don't you think McCarthy has a lot to do with that as well? Like you said, he won a championship, and he did. But don't you think he should have won a lot more with the Packers than just the one with how talented that team was in a prime Aaron Rodgers?
Maybe. Right, I don't really care about the Packers like that.
No, I know, but you work
like
that.
Maybe, yes, Aaron Rodgers is goated. Yes, he was a great talent. But at the end of the day, it's hard. It's hard to win anything in the NFL. I mean, there are great players who have never won a Super Bowl. There are great players who will never win a Super Bowl. Dan Marino, right? Never won a Super Bowl. Great quarterback. So it's just
he's been though.
Maybe it is the coach, but maybe it's the coach plus a whole bunch of other factors.
Right.
And so for me, a lot of people want to put Dak at the top and say, this is Dak right here. But for me, Dak might be down there 8, 9, 10. That's where he is. We need.
But he's the common denominator, though. When the defense, so the defense came to play against San Fran last year. The defense came to play against San Fran 2 years in a row in the playoffs. And Dak Prescott just couldn't get it done. I'm trying to be as subjective as possible. I'm not trying to seem like a Dak hater on this show. I promise you.
He is though. You know you are.
He is though.
You sound like Dak.
Don't worry about it. He's a Dak hater for sure. So don't worry about that.
How am I though? But am I lying though? So this is what I'm just looking at it from now. Okay, so a lot of people listen. All three of you guys combined might have more football knowledge than me, right? You know, even individually, you know what I'm saying? But you know, but this is where I stand though, man. If your defense could hold the 49ers to 19 points and you give the ball to Dak Prescott at the end of the game to go win the game and he can't do it, and he threw 2 picks in that game, you gotta logically put some blame on that Packers game against Dak Prescott. That's all I'm saying. That's all.
Logically,
I'm saying. You can't.
Logically, you need to rewatch that game. You need to look at our receivers.
Well, when I'm having a blue day, I watch it all the time.
Yeah. Had some of besides CeeDee Lamb, who you can blanket coverage, you can double cover. Our receivers had some of the lowest win rates when it came to getting open in the league. Brandon Cooks wasn't getting open that much. Michael Gallup was not getting open that much. They keyed on CD. Our tight ends weren't working like that. Our run game was not existent. So when all these things happen, it's easy to say, look at the quarterback. It's his fault. But then when you peel it back a little bit, how can Dak be successful if his receivers are not getting open? He's trying to fit the ball in a smaller area.
That's the argument Giants fans make for Daniel Jones, and they make the argument for Daniel
Jones is just garbage, though.
Yeah, but are you telling me that our receivers get open and have any kind of win rate when Darius Slayton is your number one guy?
No.
I'm not saying Daniel Jones is the category.
Daniel Jones is
like I did 5 years ago when I told you that Daniel Jones is going to have a better year than Dak.
On the first 3 and out for the Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb dropped the pass for a first down. I've watched that game multiple times, and I think that not losing a game at home the entire season and coming out there and just getting the brakes beat off you by the Packers is inexcusable. I can't put it on receivers not getting open. It was a total team collapse for sure, but it's a lot of blame on Dak Prescott as well. Mm-hmm. You got it. He threw 2 picks.
If you want to put the blame on Dak,
some, not all of it. Some.
He's the head guy. That's fine. But for me, I'm looking at that game. I'm seeing us out of character of who we are, who we played the whole season. I'm seeing a reversion in the play calling. I'm seeing a gashing of the defense. So for me, I can't look up there. I see all these things.
That's the curse. That's the true curse. That's the true curse. It's really, it's way simpler than reading X's and O's. The curse is there is no heart when it comes to the playoffs. You guys look the same every year.
I don't even
think
know
that's
if
the curse.
if it's hard. It's just for some reason we act out of character during the playoffs. We don't do what we did to get to the playoffs.
You think
so?
You think they feel pressure? Do you think like it's the pressure and they're not performing the same way they do in the regular season? Because this has to. I mean, they're human. They're super special. Well, you don't know anything about being an athlete like that. It's ridiculous. They're like in the top 0.1% of the world and their athletic abilities. But at the end of the day, they're human. Dak has to hear all the criticism. And this has to wear on him that every year they're winning 10, 11, 12 games, and they can't get past a certain level. Do you think that wears on him mentally? Do you think he goes out there, Scooter, and tries too hard and puts way too much pressure on himself and tries to make things happen that he doesn't do in the regular season?
This is what it is. This is what
he said in the press conference we got going late.
You guys ever play basketball?
Yeah.
Not any good at it, but yeah, played.
Okay. Well, you know how sometimes you just can't hit a shot. You're just off. You can't hit anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to see it go in. Right? You just gotta see it go in, and then it's like it never left, right? It's like the shot never left.
That's how they got going late.
I think that's the problem with Dak. It's just we got to win one playoff game, right? And he has won some playoff games, but we just got to get on a roll a little bit, get to a conference championship. Okay, and now the monkey's off his back. Now it's not that big of a deal. Now we won a Super Bowl. Now I'm making a music video. I'm talking about our Super Bowl. Right? So it's just, I just think we got to just win. Get to one conference championship.
I will say that if you get to the conference championship, I think it's like a 90% chance you're going to the Super Bowl. I will say that. If he just gets that pressure off him, I think he comes out real loose in any NFC championship game.
Let me ask
you. If you think about it, there are only about 5 teams right now in the NFC East who I would say can make a valid argument to make it to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. It's not like we have to go through AFC. Kansas City,
Cincinnati, Baltimore, yeah.
Like, and that's what makes it even more crazier that you haven't been to a championship game. Because none of those guys exist on our side. You're out here losing to the first 7 seed in NFL history.
It did happen.
Listen, man.
But it's like, what's different?
I love you, Scooter. I can't eat half of this. My spirit won't let me eat half of these excuses.
No. I know. We can't let it fly.
What's different from Dak losing that game than from Jalen Hurts losing against the Bucs? It's like
Jalen Hurts was just in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts has shown you that he could carry a team to the Super Bowl.
Getting to the Super Bowl is of no importance if you can't win it.
But you're supposed to say that because you've never been. You have to say that.
No. If the Magic make it to the NBA championship and don't win, we are just like every other team that didn't win the championship.
That's not true.
Win a championship, or
I'll tell you why that's not true. Because now the Magic make themselves marketable for people to want to come on a cheaper deal to play with the Magic, which is the same thing that's happening with the Dallas Mavericks. They got Klay Thompson. They feel like they're that close, and teams want to be a part of anything like that.
No, because that's inherent with the Dallas Cowboys. We are the brand. We're the NFL. We're America's team. We don't have to do anything for players to want to come here. You can come to Dallas, and you can make more money off the field than you can make on the field because you got that star on your helmet. There's nothing we need to do as Cowboys to get talent in. The only thing we need to do is win in the playoffs. That's it. That's all we got to do.
I've said the same thing to this panel before about me and LB got in a heated discussion about that because I told him.
Which time?
I mean, that was one of the first ones, right? Where I was trying to explain to you the value of being a Dallas Cowboy, especially the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. I mean, when has Tony Romo ever won? And he walks off the field and becomes the #1 analyst for CBS, Skechers commercials, you name it, he's in it. That's what was the
#1 trending show on Netflix just last week? It's the cheerleader
Cowboys,
show. It's the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader show, which
it's nothing to watch. That's why.
It's a great watch. I'm just saying. But the brand is bigger than the football team. And that honestly could be the problem in some regards. You come over here and it's not just football. It's a lot more. And
Micah Parsons is doing a show during the season.
What's that?
Crazy. I said Micah Parsons is doing a show during the season. That's crazy.
Well, he's
Yeah,
not the
that is-
only one though, because you got Slay and Kelsey.
Well,
We got a couple equals that do that.
It's different when it's your own show on your own platform. He's working for Bleacher Report though, like during the season.
Oh yeah,
That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
I don't
one
know
thing
if
to
it's
shoot
crazy
it's
or-
one thing to shoot a video from your own house. You're chilling, you're talking to a teammate on a live stream or whatever. We see players do that. Like Paul George has a podcast that he does during the season. Like it's not uncommon, but it's his show, you know, at his studio or his house. Like he's doing a actual production for Bleacher Report. That is crazy.
I don't know if it's crazy or if it's ahead of its time. Like we could be so early, we'll look back and say, wow, Michael really was one of the first people. Now it's everyone.
I don't have a problem with it, by the way.
All players got their own thing.
Yeah.
I just think this is the way that the media is going to go. You're going to see a lot more. You're already seeing it, right? With JJ Redick goes from a podcast to coach of the Lakers. This is just the way things are going to go. Athletes are getting more power and they're taking hold of their power. And I just think Mike is early. He's one of the first ones. And with being early comes all the, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
You should be focused on football. But we'll see how it plays out.
So how do you feel about Malik Hooker's comments? Do you think he was out of bounds for speaking on it in that way, or do you think it was some validity to those things?
The only negative thing that I have to say about that is he should just have done this privately. It's
I
like if you've ever played a team sport, you know the camaraderie that comes in. I played high school football, basketball. Like you know the camaraderie that is in that locker room.
Right.
If I really have a problem with someone, I could, bro, what are you doing?
Right.
Right.
Oh, you're getting paid how much? Oh, okay, yeah, keep doing that. Can I get
Right.
Oh, right. So it's just like that's something that they always talk about, keeping stuff in family. Keep that in. And we fight. You fight as a family sometimes.
Absolutely.
But that all stays in. Like, no one needs to know about that. So
Right.
that's you
Yeah,
can
the thing is, a lot of people just take to social media now because it's very easy just to
It's convenient.
You don't
It's right
even
there.
sometimes you're not even thinking how you just type it in there and send it, and then you can't take it back because it's out there. So 30 years ago, it didn't exist. So
And again, I just think it goes back to Micah's early. He's just early, and other players are responding to that too. To them, it's something they don't know about. But 10 years from now, it'll be so common that no one will say anything.
Let me ask you this. I want to go back to some of the comments you made earlier, and I think it's a really good point. You talked about coaching, and you felt like you guys got outcoached in the playoff game against Packers last year. Does this not feel like you have to win this year? I've never seen a team give a defensive coordinator a 1-year contract. Your head coach is going into a lame dunk season. You told any defensive coordinator that was coming in, I'm only giving you a 1-year deal. No one's signing up for that. The only guy that was going to be willing to do that was somebody that was out of football last year, like a Mike Zimmer, because he's trying to get back into the league. This feels like, hey, and I think I put Dak in this. You're confident he's going to be paid. I'm not 100% sure this time around that they're going to come back to the table with Dak if they don't see something this season. I think all of these guys on these 1-year deals, essentially Dak, Mike McCarthy, and Mike Zimmer, I think they could blow this thing up. This is why LB, it sounds far-fetched. This is a 12-5 team 3 years in a row. But if this thing somehow goes off the rails, you guys lose 2 out of your first 3. You don't think they're going to be calling for Bill Belichick? You don't think Cowboys fans are going to be screaming for Bill Belichick or the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys? Because
What
this
is
thing,
Bill Belichick gonna do? This man is dating a 20-something-year-old, and you think he's gonna come in and fix the Cowboys?
Look, Bill,
Yeah,
has
he's
the
staying
sauce.
youthful. He's staying youthful.
Bill has the sauce.
He has other things on his mind right now. But I
that'll
will
wear
say,
off in a year, though. Do you think that
Like-
relationship makes it a year?
what's that?
I said, do you think that relationship makes it a year? He might be ready to go next year.
I mean, who knows? Who knows? But to answer your question, this is a do or die year for the coach and the coach only. That's it. If we don't get to the conference championship this year, McCarthy's gone. He's out of here.
Yep.
Dak is not gone. Dak's not out here for the same reasons that I just told you earlier, that we remember what it was like when we did not have a franchise quarterback.
Chad Hutchinson.
We had a baseball player as our quarterback. He played baseball, and he was our quarterback. Yeah. We're not going back
but there has been times where teams just say it's just not working. He needs to change the scenery, time to blow it up. I've seen this with Donovan McNabb after so many tries and so many attempts. We've seen this with a lot of quarterbacks where teams just say, hey, man, it's just not working. They're going into year 8 with a guy who has 2 playoff wins and can't get to the NFC Championship game. How many more coaches' names have to be sullied while the common denominator is still there looking like a deer in the headlights in the postseason?
Here's a better question.
Hey, I don't know if I'm gonna be happy or sad if he goes. I don't know.
Here's the better question. Right, you're so down on Dak, right? Dak's trash. He's not the guy.
No. He's not. He's not.
He's not.
He's not trash.
Okay,
I don't think he's trash
because he can't do it in the playoffs.
He's just not the guy. He's just not going to win a Super Bowl.
If Dak's not the guy, who do you replace him with?
That's what
hey man, you gotta
Trey Lance.
Hey man, you gotta see this.
Just said Trey Lance.
Louis. But listen, if I'm Jerry Jones, this is my thought process right here. If Dak is not willing to take a discount, he's going to get his $50 million. He's going to have to take his talent somewhere else. He might win a Super Bowl somewhere else, but it just won't happen with Dallas. I think it's too much pressure for him. If I'm Jerry Jones, I give Trey Lance a run. Then I start. Hey, you got to it. What you waste the 4 for? Listen, I'm going. If Dak don't want to come back for even 50, so we can save some money and put some talent around his team, he got to go.
$50 million. When Trevor Lawrence just signed, no one is signed. Look, the cap's going up. All right,
goes up every year.
It's going up.
Market goes up every year.
For the same thing Trevor Lawrence signed, and we'll be fine. Okay, we'll be fine. The cap's going up. We'll be fine. The problem is Jerry Jones just likes to draw things out to the very end. I'm telling you, this is going to happen. We're going to draw things out to the very end with CD. He's going to get signed. Dak's going to get signed. He's going to get signed.
I love Jerry Jones. Can I just say, I hope he lives to be 150. I love it.
But from a business aspect, you could save money if you don't resign Dak. You could draft quarterbacks. You could build a crazy team. Then when that quarterback falls in your lap, whether it's free agency or anything, you just drop that quarterback in there. It doesn't
work that way, man. I've been in the quarterback wilderness.
The Seahawks. I've seen
years.
2 games away from being the MVP.
Which 2 games
of the league?
Which 2 games were these?
A 49ers game. That kind of lost him the MVP a little bit early, and then I forget at the very end we got bodied by some team, and Lamar had a great game.
Buffalo,
and that's what sealed it for Lamar. We're not having this conversation if those 2 games go differently, and Dak still is garbage in the playoffs. We're not having that conversation. He's the MVP. You're not getting rid of the MVP or the second runner-up MVP to maybe find someone in the draft to maybe have a quarterback who couldn't beat out Sam Darnold start for your friend. You're not doing that. No one is doing that. No one smart is doing that. No one dumb is doing that. They are taking.
Hey, he got to take a discount, man. He got to take a discount.
They gave him too much leverage.
Runner-up MVP and running it back. That's what everyone in the NFL is doing. They're paying the second runner-up to the MVP. Run it back.
Scooter, do you really think he can win a Super Bowl? Think with your head for a second, not your heart. Because I do this all the time. As a Giants fan, I got no other choice because we've been terrible for years. Do you really believe, and what you've seen from Dak in the postseason in his entire career, do you really believe he's the guy? Can he carry a team? Because when you're talking 60 million, 50 million, I understand Trevor Lawrence, like LB said, he's 24. I mean, he's a kid. Dak may be in his prime, but his track record in the postseason is not very good. Now, you talk about a brand. I'm a Yankee fan. I know all about the brand. There are certain teams, the Lakers are this team in the NBA, the Cowboys in the NFL, the Yankees in Major League Baseball. Anything short of championships is a disappointment. And as good as you are in the regular season, especially with the Yankees, if just ask Alex Rodriguez, he won 2 MVPs here, but he was terrible in the postseason and he got dogged. So I understand where LB's coming from, because I think if you're getting that much money, it's great to win personal accolades. But I think you as a fan and Dak would take an average year and a Super Bowl over an MVP year and get knocked out in the first round of the postseason.
Yeah. The heck? Yes, I would. I would take that. But is Dak the guy? To me, my answer is yes. Dak is the guy. If he's not the guy, we're going to reset. It's going to be 10 years. We're going to go through the tundra, the desert, and we're going to try, and we're going to try, and we're going to try. We're going to be 5-11 or 5-12. We're going to be 5-12. We'll be 4-13. Dak is the guy. We're 12-5. We're 12-5. We're 12-5. It's just the postseason. And the thing is, you can put it all on Dak, but it's not all on Dak.
I'm definitely not putting it all on Dak. The quarterback gets the most blame. They get the most glory and they get the most blame.
To say Mike McCarthy is the only one on the hot seat is ridiculous, to say the least. It's pressure on Dak Prescott to perform.
Zimmer. Dak is not on the hot seat. Dak has all the leverage. He can do whatever he wants to do, right? He is not sweating. He is fine right now.
Well, he's not sweating from a mind. Dak doesn't, whether he wins the Super Bowl or not, he's going to get paid. I'm thinking from a business aspect. Again, I'm not coming from a biased Eagles fan perspective. I'm thinking from, if I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, I'm not willing to pay this guy $60 million a year and handicap other positions that could be bolstered.
You're a new Cowboys fan. That's it. That just means you're a new Cowboys fan.
But I'm an old Cowboys hater. And my joy has been coming from seeing Dak crumble in the postseason. The day y'all give up on Dak is the day your chances go up.
I could say the same thing for Jalen Hurts, though.
That's
impossible. Who cares if you make it to the Super Bowl if you fumble and they score a touchdown and y'all lose by less than a touchdown? Who cares? Jeez. Who cares? No one is going around saying Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback because he made a Super Bowl and lost.
Oh, you haven't watched Eagles fans' content.
But this is the thing though, Scooter. You are happy with almost winning MVP. You keep telling us about it. I guarantee you that you would cut off one of your feet to have said my team was in the Super Bowl. You haven't been there in almost 30 years.
We're in the Super Bowl if we don't win the Super Bowl. I don't care if any of my teams make it and lose. I care if we make it and win, because
so you want to get to a champion. You want to play championship football, right? You willing to give $60 million to a guy who never had a playoff run?
Playing championship football. I don't care if we look like we suck and we win a championship. I just care about winning a championship. I don't care how or why.
Okay. So let me ask you this question.
That
you said
gives us the best chance to do that. No other quarterback in the league will do that now.
Based off what? Dak Prescott is the guy to you moving forward after his track record in the postseason. Based off what?
Based off everything he does during the season. Just because you can't get it done in the postseason doesn't mean we are now discounting everything you did to get here.
That's just like a direct contradiction. All you care about is winning the Super Bowl. You need a guy that can perform in the postseason to win a Super Bowl, not in the regular season.
You do need a guy. But once again, you look at that game, it's not all on Dak. It is the game. It is the coaching.
That's true.
It's one of many things. Yeah. Right now.
But what about the 49ers game?
I was going to say that. Now that's the one.
Have of winning a Super Bowl is with Dak Prescott this season. There's no other quarterback that we can start this season that will give us a better chance of winning a Super Bowl than Dak Prescott.
Yeah, agreed with that.
Facts. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
Going forward,
you get the same result with Derek Carr.
Stop it.
You get the same result. I said you get the same result.
So then
you get the same result with Derek Carr.
So with the Eagles, they get the same result with Derek Carr. Like, you can say that for anything. You say it for anything.
I have said that. I said the Eagles would be just as good with Daniel Jones.
Stop it. See,
they might be better. They could use that read option even better with then. He got longer legs.
Why is your cap? Tell me why it's cap.
He has some
because
athleticism.
because Daniel Jones doesn't process the game like Jalen Hurts.
I agree, but
Daniel Jones has a slow.
But LB, if he had an extra quarter of a second or half a second behind a really good offensive line, don't you think that would make a difference as opposed to
Daniel Jones
a line that gave up 85 sacks last year?
Daniel Jones is just simply not good, though, Bad Dog. Let's stop this.
In the
I didn't say he would. How do we know? Would Jalen Hurts be good on the Giants? If his number,
he'd be better than Daniel Jones.
I didn't say would he be better than Daniel Jones. Would he be good? Would he be the same quarterback on the Giants as he is on the Eagles? Throwing to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith as opposed to throwing to Darius Slayton and Isaiah Hodgins? I'm behind a line that gave up 85 sacks? Come on, LB.
Hey, man, listen. Daniel Jones is not the right example.
Daniel
Jones is not the right example for this conversation.
You don't think Daniel Jones would be better on Philadelphia as opposed to what he has? No.
Daniel Jones. Listen, Jalen Hurts at the 10-1 mark of last season came back from 4 games down 10 at half. Only like 3 people ever did that. Daniel Jones cannot do that.
Hey, listen, the year that we went into the playoffs and won a playoff game, he did come back a lot in the fourth quarter.
And then what happened the next week? Yeah. He ran into Jalen Hurts and got wiped off the field.
I don't think he ran into Jalen Hurts. I think he ran into the defense, and it wasn't Jalen Hurts.
Hey,
we weren't making contact with your running backs until you were 8 yards out of
Hold on, Bad Dog. Jalen Hurts threw 3 touchdown passes in the first half of that game. He ended the game at halftime.
If you're watching this video right now, leave a comment. Would Daniel Jones be better on the Eagles? Let us know.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Daniel Jones would go to a Super Bowl. I have said that. But I'm not saying that now. I'm saying you really don't think, you think he'd be the same quarterback behind the Philadelphia line
I think I'm about to tweet this.
A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith as opposed to behind our line with Isaiah Hodgins, Campbell, and Darius Slayton being the number one. Darius Slayton is our number one. What position, what wide receiver would Darius Slayton be on the Eagles? Tell me that. Wide receiver 4?
Scooter.
Daniel Jones would be just his ass on the Philadelphia Eagles.
Listen. Would the Eagles be better with Daniel Jones at quarterback?
Let's see what people... Scooter, do you realize what you've done? Do you realize what you've just done here?
He does. He knows what he's done. He knows what he's done.
Reflection, misdirection.
You got these guys talking about Daniel Jones. Yes, he played a Jedi mind trick.
Listen, our guy struggled, and I'm not saying he's the guy, but I got to defend him. I mean, my God. I mean, he may not be the guy, but our team stinks. I don't think anybody can argue that the talent that Daniel Jones has around him is nil.
Daniel Jones is trash too, though.
He might be.
So what are we talking about?
Players around him?
No, Daniel Jones. Our defense was historically bad last year. Daniel Jones cannot take that defense and be 10-1. The defense was buns, bro. It was horrible. The defense, everybody was doing what they wanted to that defense. By the grace of God and the multi-talents of Jalen Hurts, we were able to squeak some of them games out. You
didn't answer my question. What wide receiver is Darius Slayton on your team?
He don't make the roster on my team.
Hey, he's our number one receiver, LB.
Hey. Jalen Hurts will have y'all playing competent football.
Stop it.
The Giants will look at least competent.
Team.
So far, no one has said the Eagles would be better with Daniel Jones.
I don't think the Eagles. I'm not saying the Eagles would be better with Jones. What I'm saying is Jones would be better on the Eagles than he is on the Giants.
Scooter, you're wrong for that.
That's fair.
You're wrong for that, Scooter. All right. So, having seen the way that this offseason has gone for your Cowboys, looking at the rest of the division, the rest of the conference, how do you feel about Dallas going into training camp? Camp starts in about a week and a half, 2 weeks from now. The level of excitement is going to be through the roof for every single franchise as their team heads back to camp, getting ready to start the season off. How do you feel about the Cowboys? And we'll go around the panel and talk about how each of us feel about our respective teams and how we feel like they can potentially do this upcoming season. But we'll start with you. You're the guest. Want to hear how you feel about Dallas having the offseason, as you said, being UFL warriors this offseason, being all in on these UFL players, having some of these contractual, decisions that have to be made. I agree with you. CD's going to be paid. I agree with you that Dak gives you the best chance to win. I disagree that he is not being looked at here as potentially a guy that isn't the solution. But to your point, and again, we can go through the list of quarterbacks. It was long. The Vinny Testaverdes, the Chad Hutchinsons, the Drew Hensons, the Quincy Carters.
Yeah.
Like, we can do this. I used to do this all the time when I would talk about Tony Romo. You don't want to go back there, right? So there is that kind of looming as well. Talk to me about the defense. Obviously, you hired Mike Zimmer, and how that's going to go. Did you do enough at defensive tackle, right? Because that was one of the issues. And we thought you would draft defensive tackle a lot sooner than you did. You waited towards the back end of the draft to take care of that. So did you do enough to shore up this defense that is going to be coached by a different defensive coordinator? Do you feel good about where you guys sit, not just in the NFC East, because I think you are still one of the two best teams along with Philadelphia. I don't think anybody's going to debate that.
Nope.
Do you still feel like this is a team capable of playing championship level football in a conference that I still think is pretty much wide open if you can, put it together? How do you feel about Dallas in the offseason they've turned in?
Okay, first off, I will say we're going to go 12-5. Again, this will be our fourth season going 12-5.
Okay.
I think you know what the curse might actually be? It might be winning the NFC East 2 years in a row. We might have to do that to break some sort of curse to propel us to the conference championship. As far as moves in the postseason, I think a lot of people are discounting rather our injuries, our players that were injured that we're going to be getting back. Diggs,
Yep.
all pro cornerback. Mm-hmm. We're going to be getting him back. We're also going to be getting our rookie linebacker who didn't even play last year, DeMarvion
Overshown. Yeah.
And that's who I'm most excited about because he gives us a lot of flexibility if his injury is fully recovered. Mm-hmm. I'm very excited to see what he does there. Mm-hmm. It's also going to be very interesting to see how Tyler Guyton fits into the O-line with the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. I actually was at the NFL Combine and got to interview this man. Mm-hmm. He is the biggest player there. He was the biggest player that I saw there during the O-line interviews. So I'm very excited to see what that can do for us, as well as getting back the run game as well, because we were one-dimensional a lot last season.
Speaking of that, let me stop you right there. Who's running the football for you guys this year?
Listen. Y'all are sleeping on Zeke. Y'all are sleeping on Zeke. Okay, he was with a garbage Patriots team last year.
Oh no!
I just saw actually this tweet. He had about the same amount of receiving yards. He had as Jahmyr Gibbs. So if you're looking at a pass threat option, Zeke can provide that for you as well. So I think we erred when we got rid of Zeke and could see sort of that through our season last year. So it'll be great to have him back, just even for like camaraderie. That camaraderie, remember we're talking about everything's a family. Zeke's back now. I think you gained something, if not even in the rushing, in the locker room. So I'm excited for the season. We did not make as many splashes as the Eagles did per se, but the Eagles always make splashes. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. I'm a little bit afraid of the Eagles draft. I also interviewed Cooper DeJean. Wow. I interviewed Cooper, and Cooper he's actually very nice guy. I said, I hope you go anywhere but the Eagles. And then the Eagles drafted him. That was very disappointing. But I'm looking at the NFC, and it's the 49ers. It's the Eagles. It's maybe the Lions. Like, there is no team that you're talking about in the NFC that we cannot beat on any given Sunday. It's not like I'm scared to take on any teams. It's just we need to have the game plan right and our heads right. 12-5, conference champs, 2 years in a row. We're breaking the curse. We're winning the Super Bowl this year.
You said that last year.
Against the Chiefs. Taylor Swift will be sad. That's all I'm saying.
You know what I thought?
I'm just waiting for LB to say something.
I gotta let him talk his piece.
You know what I thought the curse was originally? I really was upset I thought it was the curse of Jimmy Johnson. All right. I thought it was Jimmy.
Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
We all did.
I thought that was the curse. And when you guys lost in the fashion that you did to Green Bay, I was like, oh,
maybe we got recursed.
This was sweet justice.
It was a good weekend, Louie. It was a good weekend for us that were already on the couch.
Oh my goodness. I had already said, so one of the things I had said last year was that every single team in this division, misery loves company. I said, every team in the division will be on the couch by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which was that following Monday after the first round of the playoffs. and that night, which was Dr. Martin Luther King Day, that night, the Eagles lost to the Bucks. And before 12 o'clock that night, every single team was sitting on the couch. It was good times, man. Really good times.
I will make one bold statement before I leave you guys. Dak Prescott will win a Super Bowl before Jalen Hurts. Wow. That is my prediction. Wow. That is my prediction.
I'll make a prediction. Jaden Daniels will win a Super Bowl before both of those guys.
I like Jaden Daniels.
I don't like Jaden Daniels. I saw this man at LSU. Good luck. Good luck to the Commanders.
I bet you saw him. That Florida game was tragic last season.
It was. He ran all over us. He did not throw all over us.
He did some of both. He did a little bit of both.
He ran. And you know what? We'll see how it translates. We'll see how it translates. Let's see how it translates.
Yeah, we will, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
All right. So, Bad Dog, how are you feeling about? You know what? Let's keep it in consistent and with the order of how this division went last year. Cowboys finished first. They went first. LB, your Eagles finished second last year. How are you feeling about the Eagles heading into camp? Obviously, you had a tremendous offseason. And like Scooter said, that's per the usual, right? You guys go out, acquire pieces. I think the draft was really good, especially early. I don't necessarily love everything you did late in the draft, but early, I think you got some really good pieces. We'll see how they fit. The biggest thing I look at with you guys is the coordinator situation. Like Vic Fangio coming in there, a lot of people figured him out, and he's not one of those guys that makes a lot of friends wherever he goes. The Dolphins players were so happy he was gone. We'll see what he's able to do if he can whip that defense into shape. And then obviously Kellen Moore, Scooter knows all about Kellen Moore. And so you're getting Kellen Moore as your offensive coordinator. Talk to me about how you're feeling about your Eagles heading into training camp.
I think losing Kelsey's a big piece too.
Right? I'm anxious. You know what I mean? I'm like in the middle because I don't know what I'm going to get out of the coordinators. Yeah. Maybe I'm hoping that people didn't like Fangio because he was hard on players. I think we need to be coached a little harder because we did have a rookie in Sidney Brown say, we practice soft. You know what I mean, as a rookie last year. So maybe, Fangio was a tougher guy, and maybe that's what we need for the defensive side of the ball because we were extremely soft last year. We didn't know how to tackle. And just a lot of things going on. So I think that's a good change of pace for us in terms of defensive coordinator. Kellen Moore, I think Kellen Moore is going to bring some new wrinkles to the offense we haven't seen, like Jalen Hurts being on the center, a lot more pre-snap motion and things of that nature. So it's just something new. I just have to see it. I got to see it, bro. I just got to see it. I got to see it. That's what I'm saying, bro. I got to see it. So I'm just like in the middle. Like I'm not too high or too low because changing two coordinators like that, you could only expect to start slow, for a couple of games in the season. Guys are getting acclimated to what's going on. But, the Kelsey thing, Kelsey's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. I like Cam Jurgens a lot, but Cam Jurgens got to give us at least 50% of Kelsey to be competent. You know what I mean? Yeah. You just can't replace a guy like Kelsey.
Will be effective next season?
Cam Jurgens has been in that position before. I don't think it's something we're going to run as much because we do have Saquon Barkley now.
That's what you brought Barkley in for because he's strong. He can push harder. He got good hands.
We brought Saquon Barkley in to run the ball in the goal line.
But he's not actually very good at that. He's not good at that. He's really not
behind this line, I like Saquon Barkley to do it. You got to remember where Saquon Barkley came from. Saquon Barkley was coming from one of the worst franchises in the National Football League in the New York Giants.
Did the offensive line have anything to do with it or no?
Was Saquon Barkley?
Yeah. Does the O-line
Yeah.
have anything to do with it? Oh,
yeah, they were ass.
Quarterback. No,
That's what I'm saying.
That's not our quarterback, just Barkley. Gotcha.
You know, it got stuff to do with everything on the offense. You know, the offense was bad as a unit. But you know, that's a blow, man, losing Kelsey, man. You know, I think one that a lot of people are sleeping on is Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox was actually still productive. If you ask me, he was the best player on the defensive side of the ball in the Tampa Bay game. But I think Milton Williams is up to task. He's up for a contract coming up soon. But just a lot of moving pieces, man. I just got to wait and see, man. You know, I'm optimistic. I'm not going to say we're going to win 17 games. It's just too many moving pieces to predict that. Now, we will be a playoff team for sure. We will win a division, but you know, we got to earn.
He said that
we got to earn the right to be called contenders, and that's going to start with, you know, how we handle teams during the season.
Are two of your line
wait to
spots
see your
potentially
offense.
getting weaker? Because
Say that again, Louis.
are two of your
Those
spots?
two people hating at the same time.
You know what, Scooter, you go first. Go ahead. What were you about to say?
I was just saying, I'm excited to see the Eagles offense next season. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, man.
I was going to ask you about your O-line because Jurgens is moving over from right guard, correct?
Right.
So
Yep,
who's
he's
taking
moved over
his spot?
from right guard. I
To
think
center?
it might be Steen.
So you could
I like
be getting,
Steen.
I mean, I liked him at Alabama, but
Yeah.
you could be getting weaker at two positions on the offensive line. On the interior.
Could be, but those are two guys who played. It's not like they're rookies.
Yeah, no,
you know
no.
what I mean? Cam Jurgens had some playing time. He learned. He stood right next to Kelsey as a starter for a couple years. Tyler Steen, real strong, good strong hands. Not the best at getting to the second level, like Cam Jurgens is, but all he has to really do is block and create holes, and he's good at that. Strong hands. So, you know, I'm not really concerned with the offensive line. You know, if you're coming from Stoutland University, man, you're going to be good.
There. I knew you was going there.
It's the facts.
I knew
You're coming
was
under
going
Jeff
there
Stoutland,
already.
you're going to be good. So,
all right. Bad Dog, talk to me about your Giants. You know what? I am actually really enjoying this offseason Hard Knocks. Like, I know the first episode was really good. I said I think it's gonna cause Giants fans to do a whole 180 on Daniel Jones. If they humanize him during this process with the treatment and all of the stuff that they're gonna do,
Louis, it ain't changing people. That hate
I think they're gonna like do
It
it
ain't
for
gonna
like, all
change
right,
nothing.
come on, Daniel.
that man could win the Nobel Peace Prize, and they will be hating on Daniel Jones. I've never seen an episode of Hard Knocks in my life. I did not have HBO. I obviously bought it for this reason.
Yeah.
And I really did enjoy it a lot, but it was only 40 minutes. I'm like, man, I feel like I just got an appetizer and no entree. I felt like it should have been an hour and a half. So I'm definitely looking forward to the rest of the season. Obviously, losing Saquon's a big blow. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Saquon's no good, but I understand why the Giants made the move they did. But what some Saquon Barkley fanboys don't seem to understand, or they just omit from their memories, the Giants offered this man more money than the Eagles did. They were off on guaranteed money by $1.5 million. They tried twice to sign him. He wouldn't do it. So when Giants fans are like, oh, the Giants didn't offer him anything, I'm like, they did. He wouldn't sign it. Put us in the predicament with Daniel Jones because you couldn't tag them both. So what were you going to do? We were coming off a playoff win. We're not drafting in the top 5. You're picking 25th. So how can you take a quarterback that it's just the timing was bad. But losing him, obviously, that's our best offensive player. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not.
Right.
I kind of like Joe Shane going back to fundamentals and building the line. Did we get a big splash? No, but I think Runyon and Illuminor certainly have to help the O-line.
Right.
Evan Neal has got to, he's the X factor, man. I think we talked about this in the last stream. To me, he's the X factor. He has to play like a 7th overall pick. He has to at least be average. And if he's not, maybe you decide to move him inside and move Illuminor over there. John Michael Schmitz needs to take a step up too. And Andrew Thomas needs to stay healthy. You heard Joe Shane say our projected starting line played like, 60 minutes together? That's a whole, it was insane how injured we were up front. And obviously the Brian Burns was the big splash move. You heard in Hard Knocks, will you give us 2 number 1s for Burns? How about a 1+? He said, you're getting closer. We didn't have to give up a number 1 to get Brian Burns. Shane Bowen wanted hey, Bill Parcells, you're going to cook. Let me get some of the groceries. He obviously fits Bowen's system. We hope that our secondary, we're going to play a lot of man-to-man. He don't blitz. So, or I'm sorry, we don't blitz a lot. So they're going to have to get to the quarterback, our front 7. I think our front 7's pretty good. I think Dexter Lawrence is good. I think Burns can make Thibodeau better. Bobby Okereke's a beast. And Micah McFadden's really good too. So I kind of like that they addressed the line of scrimmage because the line of scrimmage has been very bad on both sides. Dexter Lawrence is great, but he's double teamed. Teams can run the ball down our throat. It certainly doesn't help when we're behind in every game and teams just line up and run the ball. And obviously Malik Neighbors finally gives Daniel Jones a playmaker. Mm-hmm. Without question, this is a guy that has Odell Beckham talent. He's a guy that can take a 7-yard slant 77 to the house.
Right.
We have not had that. This year is Daniel Jones's year. Without question, this is the best team he's had around him since he's been here. It's a fact. It's a fact. I mean, it is. So I'm not saying no. I'm not saying this is his year to be great. I'm not saying this is his year to be great. I'm saying this is
I'm just watching Scooter's face. That's it. I'm not.
Y'all make me laugh.
I'm just laughing.
Y'all make me laugh.
I'm just laughing at Scooter's face.
I'm not saying this is Daniel Jones' year to be a Pro Bowl quarterback. He has to prove it this year is what I'm saying. Because the Giants can get out of it after this year if he's no good. You know, and you heard Joe Shane say we might have to pivot. I mean, it's just a fact. So I think that Malik Neighbors can make Wan'Dale Robinson effective. So it'll be interesting. I'm not expecting us to set the world on fire, but I think we'll be more competitive than we were last season.
Bad Dog.
There's obviously a lot of questions here.
Which of our teams are you beating this season?
Don't ask him that.
I mean, we beat the Commanders every year.
Okay, time out.
I could quarterback the Giants. You could probably beat the Commanders.
Okay, that was before we got Dan Quinn. Dan
Of
Quinn
course.
is undefeated against the New York Football
Yeah,
Giants.
well, I don't know what the difference.
What did
You have a different team.
105 to what? 10 last year? What was the count on that last year?
Yeah.
Did y'all even score against the Cowboys last year?
Yeah, I think they got about 10 in that second game. It was like 45 to 10 or something.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty ugly. Boy, did I have to eat a lot of garbage after week one.
Week one was bad.
I talked so much crap last year about we were going to beat the Cowboys, and oh my God, that was embarrassing. But no, I think the Giants, I think they're better on paper. They have to stay healthy. We have a new defensive coordinator. We have a new O-line coach. We have a playmaker, wide receiver now that could be a threat and should be able to get
the Commanders. Yes or no?
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, until they beat us, yes, of course we're sweeping the Commanders. Always.
Those days are over.
The New York Giants have beaten the Commanders more than any team has beaten another in the history of the NFL.
That's because we played each other more times.
The Commanders are a little scary to me this year. I ain't gonna lie, man. They a little scary to me.
I'm gonna tell you right now, man.
Well, they got to prove it to me, just like we always got to prove it when we beat the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Like Scooter said, and I always say the football gods will never allow us to be good because he knows I will not behave myself. The year we won the division at 7-9, ask them. I used to come in here.
The champ is here.
The champ is here. The champ is, that was at 7-9. So what do you think is going to happen if we go 12-5 and we're one of the best teams in football? Like you talked about making a music video.
Oh, hey, we got to get the left hand up. Do you know him? You got to.
I don't, but you know, that took on a life of its own, but that song was horrible.
It's kind of fire. Don't lie.
It was trash, but
kind of
I support anybody who supports. They're a part of the family. So if you're a part of the family, and I'm gonna support your movement, but nah.
You're saying you're not.
So how you feel? How you feel about the Commanders, Lou? Your training camp.
I'm telling you right now.
What are y'all going?
I feel like this season is gonna be like I'm gonna put on my smooth 105.3.
Over or under 5 wins?
Oh, we're over. We're over.
I'm just waiting for Luke. If we get closer to the season, they're going to end up winning 13 games. I already know.
Absolutely not.
He's saving it for right now.
No. Absolutely not. The fact that that was a disrespectful question, Scooter. I just want you to understand that was very disrespectful, and I don't appreciate that.
It was fair. However, it's a fair question.
No, it's not. We won 4 games with the worst coaching staff in football last year, and you could argue.
Y'all won 4 games last year?
4 games. And you're gonna ask me to my face if we're gonna.
We won 6.
Exactly.
We won 6 with Tommy DeVito.
I sat here and told y'all last year.
I met his agent. This man is real. He's a real person. I met him.
That guy is a real person. He's not a caricature.
No,
he's a real guy.
He's wearing like a colorful suit. When I met him too, I was like, bro, I love you.
Yeah, I think he's a cousin of my cousin or something.
Look, man. I was amazed when they would put the camera on him when they beat the team that you couldn't beat in the playoffs. The Giants beat them on a Monday night.
We kicked them.
They kept showing him with the family, and I was like, "This dude isn't real."
Like he was like almost like a plant. Like he was planted
right.
there.
That's what it felt like. Like
right.
This is a real person who I met. That's crazy.
That's wild.
As an Italian guy, I gotta admit, I enjoyed that. And I mean, this is the
It was a moment in time.
It
was literally 15 minutes of fame.
Giant fans, something to cheer about. I mean, we haven't had a lot to cheer about, so it was fun.
Scooter,
Giants fans demanded it cost us a quarterback, but I mean, guys are not going to go out there and tank. That's not what they do. Players aren't going to go out there and lose on purpose.
Literally, you just hit it on the head. That was like akin to Linsanity on a much smaller scale, but it was definitely on par with Linsanity.
It was absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely took Giants fans. Like, you know what was crazy? What was so fun? Because again, misery loves company. I knew. Was watching Giants fans perk up. Like, oh my God, because the NFC was trash at the back end of the conference was garbage. They were like they were like 2 games out of the playoffs at that point when they went to New Orleans and they had won like 3 in a row or whatever. Yeah. Maybe even a game back of like the last place team in the playoffs or whatever.
I was rooting for y'all because y'all get a worse draft pick. I say, keep going, Giant. Go.
Well, I know.
I already knew that they were going to beat us both times. So
I did too.
Once they beat us the first time, I was like, oh, they're going to definitely beat us the second time. Oh, yeah. So I was cool. We were where we were going. But you asked me what I think about us this year. This is one of those foundational seasons, right? Like, as a Commanders fan, this has been a blissful offseason. We haven't experienced, listen to how I phrase this. This is important. We have been in NFL purgatory for a quarter of a century. Okay? Not 25 years. That doesn't do it any justice. You have to say it like this. A quarter of a century. We were put in the dungeons of the NFC East by our shameful former owner, Daniel Snyder, and thrown there, and he locked away the key, right? And we finally have been freed. We have a real front office. We have real coaches, a real staff.
Like, you said that last year.
No, I didn't say that last year. What I told you last year
said something along those lines last year.
I did not say that because Ron Rivera was still our head coach. And much like you,
pull up the footage.
Much like you, I wanted Ron Rivera fired the year previous. You wanted Nick Sirianni fired this last offseason.
I did.
Okay.
I wanted
Ron Rivera fired, and the only thing was he gave me a peace offering. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going to fire Scott Turner, and I'm going to bring in Eric Bieniemy, and we all got bamboozled. I can't speak for anybody else. I was bamboozled. I was hoodwinked.
The coaches were good last year outside of Rivera.
I didn't love Jack Del Rio. I don't know where you're getting this from.
You liked your front office last year.
I did not. The front office was awful last year. What are you talking about? The only thing that I liked last year was Sam Howell. That was the only thing I liked. Sam Howell.
You liked it. So I remember this distinctively. You liked Bieniemy probably for like 3 weeks.
The first
it was over.
It
was over after that.
The first 2 weeks. We went out, we beat Arizona, which wasn't impressive, and then we came back. It was the way and the fashion in which we came back and beat Denver that had us all thinking, oh my God, we just scored 35 points on the road in Mile High, a place we hadn't won since like 2007 or something like that. And we did it scoring like 32 unanswered points in that game. Are you kidding me? We don't do those type of things in Washington. So yeah, we were feeling really good about ourselves. Then the Bills humbled us. But then after that, we had y'all on the ropes and we let y'all off the hook. So we were thinking.
And I had the trash talk ready to go. I was ready for that.
You couldn't tell us nothing after those first 4 games. The offense was humming. Sam was doing what I thought he could do. And then all of a sudden,
reality sets in. You're the commander.
Reality set in hard. Like Eric Bieniemy was not a good offensive coordinator. Our offensive line was horrible.
What's going to happen to the Commanders this year? Reality is going to set in for you guys.
The reality is different now. It's different.
I think that's a top 5 defense. I think that's the top 5 defense over there.
Jaden Daniels is not the savior you think he is. Sam Howell gave you a better chance to win than Jaden Daniels.
Wow.
Watch how this season plays out.
Look, we got y'all clip that one.
Clip it.
Listen, Sam Howell not trash though.
Clip it.
Sam Howell not trash.
He's trash, LB. Come on.
No, I don't think Sam Howell's trash. I don't think he's trash.
LB saw him up close.
I don't know about Jaden McDaniels. I don't know about Jaden though, but I know Sam Howell could play.
I know about Jaden.
Look, I know you saw him in the game last year. against
I see
Florida.
him throw. I
He
see him
did.
throw.
And
Any
I saw
He
saw
had 3
Sam
touchdown
Howell.
passes in that game.
Bro,
Including
Sam
a
Howell-
dagger at the end, a deep ball.
He's throwing to
Thomas.
Malik Neighbors. Okay,
And
Sam
Thomas.
Howell better than
He
Daniel
does.
Jones, bad dog. Sam Howell better than Daniel Jones.
Are you gonna penalize him? That's like penalizing Dak for throwing to Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. Are you gonna penalize him for that?
No, I'm saying let's see what it's like in the NFL on the Commanders.
It is an adjustment.
You said that. You said it like we don't have Terry McLaurin, like we don't have talent or something. We got talent.
Who?
Who? What do you mean who?
Listen,
The same.
Deontay
might have-
Banks is
the same
Commanders
guy.
might have the worst receiving core in the division. What are we talking about?
Okay.
What
Wait
are
a
we talking
minute.
about?
Wait a
I
minute.
like that one. Hell yeah, let's go.
Time out. Who's your second receiver on your team again? Who you
Who?
got? You.
First of all,
Cooks.
CD is a first and a second. So
No,
he
no,
can
no,
just
no.
take a first and
No,
second.
no.
I love
CeeDee
CeeDee Lamb. I'm
CeeDee
not-
Lamb's awesome, but we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna give him 2 slots. Cause
Brandon Cooks
okay,
cancels out
yeah.
your receivers.
Jahan
you got-
Dotson.
Who else you got after that?
Dotson is nice.
Who
I
else
watched
you got
him
after that? Yeah, it's like crickets, like your off season, right? You don't have any more receivers, right? I mean, you got dudes you still waiting on. What's the kid that you drafted in the 4th round 2-3 drafts ago? You still waiting on guys like that to hopefully rise from the dead. You drafted another one with Flournoy this year. You stay drafting one of these Southeast
We have a lot. We have
Louisiana
a lot of,
State.
Turpin about to get a lot of reps this year.
Look, man.
no. Tolbert is going to get a lot of reps.
Jalen Tolbert, that's his name. The kid
Jalen
from-
Tolbert is who you're going to see a lot. The thing is, we tried to force Michael Gallup last year. I love Michael Gallup, but after his injury, he just was a step slower.
And he didn't have a step to give to begin with.
What's that?
He didn't have a step to give to begin with.
No, Michael Gallup was all right before he got hurt.
He didn't have a step
Michael
to
Gallup was
give.
always a great possession
was
receiver,
good.
but he just the
couldn't
injury
run.
he was never able to
And
get
then he
back.
couldn't run after the injury.
But
Like
I
you said,
think
he lost a step.
he was taking up a lot of reps for our third string with Tolbert. And so I think you're going to see a lot of Tolbert. Tolbert is a speedster. He's the exact opposite of Gallup. So you're going to be seeing a lot of the field getting stretched more with Tolbert, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of Cavante Turpin, I believe, in the slot. Even potentially Deuce Vaughn playing some receiver this year. So
Oh, y'all
we'll see
down
what happens.
bad. Man, y'all down bad.
I like Deuce Vaughn a lot.
getting out there
I always
receiving.
like Deuce Vaughn.
I'm tweeting you when Deuce scores a touchdown on the Commanders.
Yeah,
Because it's
look,
the fourth quarter and
look.
quarters are
So
out,
this is one of
and
the
Deuce is in.
This is one of the things that comes with getting better. Like I'd always say this: no team in the division like scares me, and that goes for all of us. None of
You
the
didn't
teams
win.
in the
You didn't
division.
win a single division game last year.
Right. Let me finish. Right. Let me finish. No team in the division scares me.
The
Right.
Giants should always scare you, Louis.
So you're saying all of
negative.
us
Because
scare
the Giants are ass just like us. So anything
I
can
know, but we
happen.
beat your ass every
So
year.
I don't worry about the Giants as much. So here's the thing: the Giants
good.
are terrible every year, just like us. The
We
Eagles.
are. We beat
I've
you.
always said of all the places in the division, I always feel most comfortable on the road in Philadelphia. It's a very sterile environment. Okay, we can
You're
go in
used to
there.
the
We can
filth.
go in there and feel like we can win. Right. So I always feel like I got a shot against Philadelphia, home and away. I hate going to the Meadowlands to play the Giants. Always been a place of horrors for us for years. It's Dallas, however, is the team that no matter. So my dad is a Cowboys fan. My whole family's a Cowboys fan.
So what happened to you? What?
I was
how
the
did
lucky
you
one.
get
I escaped. You ever seen the movie with the guy? Oh my God, what is it called?
Get out.
Get out?
Yes, Get Out. I was the one that was able to get out. Right? I'm sitting there, they're trying to talk to me about the Cowboys, and I can't move, and I got tears coming down my face. I was able to escape.
And
Almost
that
said
led
something.
you to
Almost said something
becoming a
horrible.
You
and people
realize
would've clipped
that
it.
you guys
People would've
haven't
clipped
won a
it.
Super Bowl. You guys have won a Super Bowl less recently than the Cowboys. You
Correct.
guys are the only team that hasn't been to a conference championship less recently than the Cowboys.
Absolutely.
What did you
heard,
escape to?
You heard what I said, right? You heard what I said about being in purgatory for a quarter of a century. So, like, I have an excuse. What's yours? We could talk about Jerry Jones, but you've won 12. You've been the number 1 seed multiple times. I haven't won back-to-back. I haven't won double-digit games.
I see what you're saying.
Okay, so don't make me go down that road. You don't want to do
I
that
see
with me,
what
okay? My dad is a Cowboys fan, so
And
I
now,
know that.
tell me how
franchise.
Jaden Daniels is going to change everything.
Well, I don't know if he's going to change everything. What I'm telling you is this has been an organizational failure for 25 years. So it doesn't.
I like this. Two teams that haven't done anything in a quarter century bickering. I like this. Go ahead, continue.
It's coming from a guy with one Super Bowl to his name. Just
the most recent. The most recent.
Fine, and that's nice.
The most recent.
That's nice.
If we do averages, you're in last place. If we're averaging it, you're in last place.
That's
hurtful. That's hurtful. But okay, who's averaging it?
Yesterday? That's collecting some dust.
Look,
it's been a while.
You guys would know about that.
Yes, we would. Okay,
I have the least dusty ring. I have the least dusty ring, don't I?
You do.
The least dusty ring.
Ring one.
Singular.
Right, not plural, singular. Okay. Anyway, we have an organizational, that was an organizational failure from the top down. You can't win if your organization is run by an owner like that.
Were you at the game when it the sewage water started leaking?
No, but I was there telling me about it.
It was against was it against the Eagles?
I don't think that one was. That was the one.
No, I wasn't there.
The stands
the railing fell against the Eagles.
With Jalen Hurts, right?
There's roaches there. Well, there's roaches there though. There's roaches in that stadium.
It's a decrepit stadium. Like he came in and he's already spent $40 million on repairing the stadium because we don't know when we're going to get our new stadium. So if you're going to be here, we might as well make it feel like home, right? So even little things like that. Do you know how excited the fans were when they put out like stands at training camp? Like just a little gesture like that. The last owner was so pathetic that he treated the fan base like peons because he came into a fan base that was one of the most rabid when he took over the organization. So he figured I can just do whatever I want. They're going to remain loyal. And over time, he took the most loyal fan base, ran them into the ground, and turned us into one of the worst fan bases in terms of attendance. And we're apathetic, right? That's the worst thing, right?
You guys have a real problem, though, Lou. You guys have a problem. You guys have a deep problem. So DC, I live in the area. You guys, it's a
transient area.
It's a melting pot. Everybody's from everywhere.
Because of the
every time you guys play the Cowboys, that stadium belongs to the Cowboys.
Listen to me. Every
time you play the Eagles, that stadium belongs to the Eagles. You got a real cultural problem still.
You've never been around for when we've been really good. So you can say that.
Well, I was 3.
Right. No. If you go back to 2012, y'all weren't coming in and taking over our stadium in 2012.
Was that RG 3 times?
You were trash that year, right? That was Chip Kelly, not Chip. That was
Andy Reid last year.
Right. So you were bad that year, but Dallas was good. We played for the division in week 17 against the Cowboys. That was the Rob Jackson. You remember that, Scooter, right? The Rob Jackson pick. You remember that one with Tony Romo? With Alfred Morris and 3 touchdowns and 200 yards rushing? You remember that, right?
Chill.
I was just asking. I just making sure you remember that one.
Alfred Morris.
I thought he was such a beast.
Well, he played for the Cowboys too.
Even with the Giants,
actually.
I don't know why we got rid of him. He was better than McFadden.
But when we're good, the fan base will come back. They will return. The problem was there were a lot of fans that said, until he's gone, he is the bad man, Daniel Snyder. I'm not coming back. Well, he's gone now. And this offseason has been a breath of fresh air. And
so what are you saying, your fan base is fair weather fans?
No, but when you've been beaten in the face, like it's tough, man. Like not everybody is built to deal with the things that we dealt with. Like you've won 2 Super Bowls in a span of 4 years. You can't talk to me about anything, right?
Twice, or me. Like it's been too long. It's been way too long.
No fan bases. I will say this, and I say this proud because I think this is true. And I know there's the Browns and some Bears fans. Like I don't even want to hear from Bears fans, right? You had Jay Cutler, and you can say what you want. Jay Cutler was your quarterback for 8 years, and he took you to an NFC championship game. You went to a Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. Shut up, right? If you're a Bears fan, I don't want to hear from you. We have gone nowhere with every quarterback you can think of for the last 40 years. For the last 25 of them, we've been the worst run organization. Our ownership ran this franchise into the ground. The fans were cut in half. We changed our name. We don't even have the same identity. that we once did. That took away another third of the fan base.
You're about to make me cry. Sounds horrible to be over there.
Look, it was some lean years. It was some lean years. But the ones who made it through, right, like myself, and there are a lot of us who made it through, it's going to be that much sweeter when Jaden Daniels is slashing the Cowboys and stop. So let me go back to my original point, and then I'm going to close this up. The one team in the division that kills us is Dallas. Home, away, it doesn't matter. Like, these boys put turkey legs in the Salvation Army bell on Thanksgiving because they knew they were going to get to the end zone to eat them. They threw a LeBron James, D Wade alley-oop into the Salvation Arm bell. Like, no other team in the division does these type of things to us. So in my mind, this year, these are the things that I'm looking for, because I don't expect this team to be a playoff. There are a lot of fans that are delusional that think this team's going to be a playoff team this year. I don't. But what I do think we're going to come out of this season saying is, A, we have a quarterback. B, we're now competitive in this division. No one shows up expecting to sweep the Commanders twice in a season.
I do.
Right? You can
do so.
You can, Bad Dog, you can sit down and in the corner.
Down now. I do.
Hey, bro,
Face the corner.
Being swept by the Giants is crazy.
How many wins are we talking about?
Listen.
That's a good question, Scooter.
The football god said, hey, do you want to be the Giants or do you want to be something much better?
So you're going to get
The real question is
nowhere.
Is Daniel Jones better than Jaden Daniels? That's the real question.
That's not even a question, Scooter. Do I need to
Let's see what happens at the end of the season?
How do we know? We don't know what Jaden Daniels is. We know what Daniel Jones is.
I was this close to muting your mic just now. For that statement.
How many wins?
I've been muted before.
I was this close to muting your mic. Now, how many wins? So we're going to do a show later on this season, okay, where we're going to give our win totals. But I will tell you, it's more than the 5 that you asked me about over under. We're going over that 5.
How many did you win last year?
We won 4 last year. We won 4.
And you're saying you're going to win 2 more than last year?
At least
minimum.
2 more. Yeah, bare minimum.
LB, he's getting closer to the Louis that we know him.
No, I'm just telling you. I'm not.
They're winning 11 games.
I'm not doing that this year. Trust me. I'm telling y'all right now.
Remember last year, he was saying, we're going to go down there. We're going to beat Buffalo.
Well, Buffalo was coming to us. And we were in that game. It was 16-0 in the fourth quarter. We had ample opportunity. That's 2 scores, Bad Dog.
I know what it is. We have a hard time getting 2 scores. So
right. It was right.
I was at that game. I think. Wait. You said that was that in Buffalo?
It was in DC.
No, that was the Giants. The Giants game where they played Buffalo.
We should have beat Buffalo too.
I was there at that game. That was crazy.
Yeah, I still don't know how y'all lost. Yeah,
I don't know how y'all lost.
We're the Giants, Scooter. That's
it
how
was amazing. Like it was. I wanted y'all to win, so you have to work.
You talked about how we were like 1 game out of the postseason when we played the Saints. Just think about the Jets game, we blew it.
Yep.
The Buffalo game, we blew it. The Rams game, we blew it. I mean, literally, the Giants could have won 9 games.
Yeah, so y'all couldn't have gotten Malik Neighbors, but
that's true. That's true.
This is why.
Again, I think we'll be better this year, but we're not setting a world.
This is why I was
continue to blow games as long as you have Daniel Jones.
Let me ask Brunson one question. Who has a better season, the Giants or the Commanders next year?
We do. And
the Commanders. The Commanders are going to have a better season. The Commanders are going to have a better season because the Commanders' defense is going to give Daniel Jones nightmares.
What's wrong with our defense?
Don't tell him anything.
What's wrong with our defense?
What's wrong with your defense?
We're going to find out too, because I'm telling you, man. Nobody knows that better than Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn coming within the division, a guy who knows how to get to everybody. We all have the same quarterback. Dan Quinn knows how Dak ticks. He knows how Jalen ticks. He knows how Daniel Jones ticks. Shit, a tick knows how Daniel Jones ticks.
We'll see if Daniel Jones is playing. We don't even know if Daniel Jones will be in that game. Who the hell knows?
Well, I mean, I don't feel good about DeVito against Dan Quinn.
It wouldn't be DeVito. It would be Drew Lock. But
I
think
he beat you last year. You know all about it.
Drew Lock. Yeah. we got Drew Lock paid.
Huh?
You got $5 million.
We keep interrupting. Close us out, Louie. We keep interrupting you with your prediction, your season.
So
prediction.
at the end of the day, I expect to beat every one of your teams at least once. 3-3 is the goal in the division. At least 6 wins or more is the expectation because you're setting a foundation this year.
And you're saying 3 of those 6 wins are coming against
in division.
the NFC East?
Yes. 3. I want him to be at least one of each, but it may be one of y'all still gets us twice and we sweep one of the other teams and split with somebody. But we're getting I want to say we're getting one from everybody this year. I feel good about in the division. Yeah. I mean, after losing all 6 last year, yeah, we're getting 3 at least this year in the division.
What's Daniel Jones's record against the Commanders?
I don't know. I don't know.
500.
We lost one game because Dexter Lawrence jumped off sides, or Daniel Jones would have never lost to the Commanders in his.
And he's got a tie.
He's right, but that's not a loss.
Yeah, it's not a loss, but
he's like 5-1.
In every one of those games, I could
he tears you up. You can't deny that.
He's had some games. He doesn't always carve us up, right? And even in you saying that, like he had a 5 touchdown game against us in overtime. We still should have won the game. Like every game he's beaten us, it's not like y'all have gone out and beaten us by 2-3 touchdowns. They're 1 point, 2 point victories.
We win.
It's a win. And I'm glad that you've won those games. I'm so glad that.
What has it gotten you though? What has it gotten you?
It's gotten me in a position where I'm at now. Because if we would have beaten y'all, if we would have
listening to Daniel Jones's guys.
If we would have beaten y'all at all one time 2 years ago, we would have made it to the playoffs. Ron Rivera is not fired right now. Daniel Snyder might still be our owner. It's you. I'm just telling you. The math was there. When we played y'all on Sunday Night Football, do you understand the winner of that game had a 92%
Absolutely.
chance?
No, I understand it completely.
What are we talking about right now?
I understand completely. If we lost that game, our season was over. I agree. That was for the postseason.
It's inconsequential. Like if we had beaten y'all over the years, we would be in a worse position now than we are. Had we beaten you last year, we don't have Jaden Daniels. So
correct.
Again,
bro,
I'm
glad you might have
They
told me it's gonna be 30 minutes, Chad.
Hey, this is what we do. All right, we know you gotta get out here because I actually have another show that I have.
You told him 30 minutes.
Yeah, I told him 30 minutes.
He lied to you. That was just
he lied. That's okay.
It was a good show.
I appreciate you for coming on. You know what? I gotta say this, Scooter. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't think you would be able to hold your own, though. You held up really well against the pressure because when you first came in here, you got the full court press because we didn't have a Cowboys content creator here last time. So everything that we wanted to talk about, you got unloaded on. And you know LB was going to come with his venomous Dax, hate, right?
Listen,
so you had
I
to
see
take
the
that.
tweets. I see the tweets.
I would like to apologize for those tweets. I'm really a nice guy. I would like to apologize.
He is not like his
off season. I'm not even entertaining these questions and inquiries. We gotta wait till we get closer. So, but listen, being around Eagles fans on Twitter prepares you for life as a man. Like
he's a grown man.
Anyone can say to. What are you going to say to me that an Eagles fan hasn't already said to me? You understand what I'm saying?
True.
Like,
yes.
There's nothing you could say. I've heard it all. So.
Man, for sure, man. And anybody, if you're in the comment section, we will answer all super chats on the next stream. This was crazy, man. Thank you again for popping up, man. We really appreciate that.
I don't think this is necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. Please tell the people where they can find your work.
All socials at ScooterMagruder, MAGRUDER. There's no C in Magruder. Everywhere.
Thank you so much for joining us, man. This was a blast. We've actually got to have you come back when the Cowboys go 8-9 this year.
And I promise it'll be 30. It'll be 30 minutes. I promise.
I know.
It'll be 30 minutes of LB barraging you.
Yeah.
I won't even say anything.
Put a 1 in front of the 30.
You when Deuce scores on the Commander. I'm just doing this. That's all you're getting, and you'll know. You'll
Hey,
know.
so when Jaden Daniels scores 4 combined touchdowns, including 2 rushing, and we beat you guys 31-13 because Dan Quinn knows Dak.
I'm Madden.
I'll be back. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. All right.
Let's see how it plays out.
Obviously, yeah. I kid. Don't kill me, okay? I don't want that Taylor Decker smoke that you had last year. I don't want any of that, okay?
Wild.
I don't want any of that, right?
Crazy.
I want to live out here, man. I'm just trying to live, man. I don't want any of the Scooter Magruder.
That's fair. That's fair.
Anyway, I thank you guys for coming out and checking us out. We appreciate you. Again, leave it down in the comment section. I know this was a crazy episode, and we can't wait to recap this and chop it up with you guys. And once again, special shout out to our special guest, Scooter Magruder, for coming in and tapping in with the Super Friends and showing us what his ultimate superpower is, which is to make us laugh. This guy is hilarious. Yep. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you guys next time. Super Friends are out.
Peace.